Today, we're talking about Facebook video ads. Specifically, 5 tips and tricks that you can use to generate more qualified leads and sales for your business. And if you stay to the end, there's gonna be a bonus tip. So let's get into it. Before we get started, I wanna send a special shout out to Social Media Examiner, their team, and their beautiful community. It's so great to have you here. For those interested, Social Media Examiner is hosting their annual Facebook Ads Summit online from September 9 to September 13, 2019, which I will be speaking at along with some other amazing Facebook ad ninjas like my boy, Dennis Yu, as well as Molly Pittman, 𝗂𝗟𝗏𝗏, and many more. To learn more about the Social Media Examiner Facebook Ad Summit, hit the link in the description. G'day Internet, well, it's 𝗿𝗪𝗟. My name is Paul Raimondo, and if you'd like to learn more Facebook ad hacks, tips, and how-tos, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I drop new videos every single Thursday, 6 AM Pacific, 9 AM Eastern, and 9 PM Australian Western Standard Time Zone. In today's tutorial, we're gonna be covering 6 of the most common mistakes that I see Facebook advertisers make when using video as their creative. We're also going to explore the solutions on how to avoid them. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop straight into the tutorial. So fun fact, Facebook turns 16 in 2020. And just like most teenagers, on their journey of puberty is experiencing a lot of changes, both internally, i.e. how the algorithm works, distributes ads, and distributes content organically, as well as externally, how people just like you and me are choosing to consume and play with the platform on our mobile devices, as well as on our desktop devices. Now, this latter point, the external changes that Facebook is experiencing at the hands of us, the consumer, and the psychology surrounding our consumption patterns of the Facebook app and of the Facebook desktop absolutely fascinate me. Now, the best way to think about your Facebook feed in a mid-2019 world is as if it were a highway. And the cars that are speeding along that highway are your thumbs, or the thumbs of your audience, and your video ads represent the billboards in which your audience is speeding past with their thumbs on their journey to the dopamine destination. Now, just like someone that's literally speeding down a freeway or a highway at 65 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour, depending on which hemisphere you adhere to, you've only got about like 10 seconds, like 10 real seconds to actually consume a billboard as you speed past on the highway. Now, this same rationale actually applies to people consuming your video ads in the feed as they speed along with their thumbs. Now, naturally, this begs the question, how on earth do we get people to slow down in the feed and actually pay attention to all of the time and effort and the message that we're trying to communicate through this video ad that we're running in the feed? Well, our first tip is that you need to be ensuring that your video creative is optimized for the placements in which you intend to run that video on. Now, this may sound like a bit of a no-brainer, but I'm still fascinated by how many pieces of creative I see in my feed every single day that are not optimized correctly for the placements in which they're running. Now, my team and I have found that video ads that adhere to the following guidelines tend to outperform those that don't. Tip 1, optimize your content for the placements you choose. So the name of the game has and always will be attention. And naturally, video creative and ads that demand and garner more attention have a higher propensity and a higher chance of actually getting people's thumbs to stop when they're speeding down that feed. Now, one of the easiest ways and fastest ways that you can garner more attention with your video creative is by actually optimizing said video creative for the placement in which you're running it on. For example, if you're running a video creative for a 15-second Instagram ad, then you're gonna wanna make sure that that is optimized for 1080 pixels across and 1920 pixels down, which is a vertical aspect ratio. Similarly, if you're running video ads in the feed, you wanna make sure that it's optimized to garner and capture the most newsfeed real estate, whether that be on Facebook or Instagram, as possible. Now, if this sounds all a little bit too confusing for you, trust me, I feel ya. It confuses my team. I'm confused even trying to talk about it. It confuses my team and myself all of the time, especially when Facebook keep moving the goalposts and changing what formats work, where they actually have a cheat sheet / guide, which I 100% recommend checking out. And check it out before you actually start even filming or producing or editing those video ads, right? Because it will allow you to save heaps and heaps of time and ensure that you're producing and repurposing your video ads for the intended placement in which they're going to run. Now, this is also especially true in terms of dimensions and duration, right? So for example, if your goal was to run a video ad as a Facebook in-stream placement, you've actually only got 5 to 15 seconds of video duration to play with. Now, this is a stark contrast to the 240 minutes max video length for videos in the Facebook feed. Now, I will leave a link for this video requirements cheat sheet in the description of this video. Tip 2, 2019 means 1080p HD. Most of us carry around a 4K video camera, photo camera in our pockets, right? Now, even if we don't have a 4K photo camera, video camera in our pockets, we're carrying around something that can at least view and consume content at 1080p, which means that, and I can't believe I need to say this, I've seen some terrible ads, let me tell you. If you're uploading video creative for your video ad that you intend to spend money on promoting, then you want to ensure that your ad is not pixelated, right? 2019 means 1080p HD. And I can't begin, I can't even, I have to cover this. Don't upload pixelated ads, right? Last thing you want is for an audience member that you've spent your hard-earned dollars in your business on trying to get in front of. You get in front of that right audience, right? And then all they do, blind, because they're like, oh, that's pixelated, and they just swipe away. So optimize your video creative in the highest resolution and upload it in the highest resolution available so that you don't waste any ad dollars on people that are just gonna simply swipe away because your content is pixelated. Now, Facebook has an incredibly comprehensive guide to the creative specs and technical requirements for video ads, which I will also link to in the description. Tip 3, optimize your repurposing workflow to save time and money. Now, clients always agree with myself and my team when we explain the first 2 points with them. However, this is quickly met with an objection, which is the totally fair objection, which is simply something on the lines of, Paul, totally agree. However, my team doesn't have the skills, IP, or budget internally to be able to repurpose all of that content into all of those dimensions continually at scale, which I, as an independent creator and owner of a very small marketing business, totally understand and totally agree with. I totally get it. Sometimes it's just not economical or feasible. There's the best way to do things, but sometimes you just need to get your ad in front of your audience. However, what I've found to work and work really well is creating an automatic repurposing workflow for my content, right? So we have an original piece of seed content that we repurpose into, say, 5 different formats and getting one of our staff members to do that for us, right? Another way that you can do it is by checking out this article which was shared on the Social Media Examiner by 𝗥𝗘𝗟𝗏, who wrote an article this year on how to create video for multiple platforms. I strongly recommend you give it a look and learn how to better optimize your repurposing workflow. Again, I'll leave a link for this one in the description. Tip 4, video ad thumbnails matter. No, they really do matter. The next tip that I have for you guys, I can't even really call a mistake. It's more so an oversight than anything else. And that is that the necessity of a captivating thumbnail which captures the attention of your audience is so important. Now, just like your video ad creative, your video ad thumbnails must demand attention. And I would even recommend going as far as customizing your thumbnails variable to the avatar of the customer in which you're targeting. For example, if I'm running a Facebook video ad campaign specifically targeting females, then I'm gonna want to ensure that the thumbnail in which I'm using for those video ads inside of that campaign contains a female. And you'd also want to apply that same rationale to the video creative itself. You want to ensure that you're using the characteristics of the avatar in which you're targeting inside of your messaging, whether that's in the video creative or, like I said, in the thumbnail. Now, just like all of my recommendations for Facebook and Instagram ads, I highly recommend you temper it with your own testing and your own data and the results from that testing that you conduct. But you'll tend to find, 𝗬𝗪𝑡𝑖s paribus, all other things being equal, that if you can match the creative of your video as well as the creative of your thumbnail to the characteristics of the audience in which you're targeting, you will get a better return on investment. And to those watching right now that are thinking to themselves, bro, like, thumbnails don't matter. Videos autoplay in my feed. I agree with you, but I would also like to get you to think about the fact that you are not your target audience, right? And many people that use Facebook and Instagram have the data settings set to low, which means that they don't have videos autoplay in their feed. So how are you going to be able to effectively get someone to click on your video ad if you don't have an engaging thumbnail? If they don't have that attention grabbing, if your thumbnail does not have that attention grabbing capability, then you're just basically gonna be blinded and people are just gonna speed past with their thumbs on your feed. So like I said, thumbnails matter. They really do. Tip 5, the 20% text rule for thumbnails. So what is the ultimate no-no for thumbnails? Well, let me tell you, it's thumbnails that are either bespoke designed, or thumbnails that are taking automatically generated images to use as thumbnails from the video creative that contain more than 20% text. Now, why does this matter? Well, if your thumbnail contains over 20% text, it's basically gonna mean that your ad is going to be slightly reduced in terms of its reach. If it has a lot more text than 20%, you can expect those reductions in reach to be a lot more severe. And not only that, you're going to experience increases in cost because it's contrary to what the Facebook algorithm wants you to do. It wants your image creative to be non-spammy. It wants your thumbnails to be non-spammy, which means you need to reduce your text to less than 20%. Now, I've seen so many client campaigns, we've hopped in, we've ordered their accounts, have auto-generated thumbnails from their video creative, and they don't even know. They basically just had an automatic thumbnail where it's taken from inside of their video creative where they've had text effects on screen, which has pushed the text over 20% for their thumbnail, which has resulted in them paying more for their ads and getting less bang for their buck. Now, ain't nobody got time for that, let me tell you, fam. So, what do I recommend to get around this issue? Well, if you want to check your text overlay percentage before uploading a thumbnail to your video ad, Facebook has this super handy tool, which is known as the text overlay tool, that you can use to check the text percentage of your images before you upload them to your video ads. Again, I'll leave a link for this in the description. Bonus tip, subtitles. We need to talk about subtitles, guys, and why they are so important. Now, we all know the feeling of wanting to watch a video when we're on public transport or somewhere in public and not having our earphones with us. When, where are my AirPods gone? I lost them. And you want to watch the video, but you can't watch it because you're in a public place, so you don't want to annoy the people around you or turn the volume on or have anyone eavesdropping on what you're watching, right? Now, if your video creative that you're using or that you're distributing to your audience, or your video ads that you're distributing to your audience don't have subtitles, you're leaving a lot of attention on the table, because for those people that are consuming your video on silent because they don't have headphones, they're basically just going to swipe past because they can't engage with the ad itself, because there's no way for them to really consume and understand what's going on with your video creative if there's no subtitles for the verbal speech. And it's no surprise that over 85% of Facebook users actually consume their feed with the subtitles on and the sounds off. So how do we get around this? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Subtitles, or .srt files for my fellow nerds out there. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, oh, Paul, does that mean that I have to now write out all of the verbal speech, all of the spoken word in my video and then timestamp it and then produce an SRT file? How do I produce an SRT file? Oh, well, what do I even do? Well, never fear, I don't do that. Ain't nobody got time for that, especially if you check out some of my longer vlogs, 15, 20 minutes. I don't have time to sit down and type out every single piece of spoken word and convert it into subtitle format. We use a website called Rev to get our SRT files, which are also Facebook ready, for $1 per minute for the transcription. And that comes from real human beings. And that's done within a turnaround time of 24 hours. Now, for those of you that are on a budget, there's another website called 𝗘𝗣𝗜, which is actually an AI-based transcription platform that creates SRT files for only 10 cents a minute. Talk about a steal. The only caveat to using 𝗘𝗣𝗜 is that your audio quality really needs to be tip top. Otherwise, the AI is gonna have trouble being accurate in terms of its transcription. Again, I will leave these linked in the description. Anyways, that there concludes this tutorial. If you found value in it, please consider dropping me a thumbs up. I also appreciate that the tips that we covered in today's tutorial are not overly advanced. However, if you are looking to take your Facebook ads to the next level, I highly recommend that you check out Social Media Examiner's Facebook Ad Summit. And this is going to be happening online from September 9 to September 13, 2019, which I will be speaking at along with some other amazing Facebook ad ninjas like my boy, Dennis Yu, as well as Molly Pittman, 𝗂𝗟𝗏, and many more. To learn more about the Social Media Examiner annual Facebook Ad Summit, please hit the link in the description. Apart from that, let's go ahead and cue the explosion. I've been 𝗂𝗟𝗏. Thank you so much for watching. I drop new videos on my YouTube channel every single Thursday, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time Zone. I'll see you next Thursday. Peace.